Hi guys, Cam here from the fish room. During this week we've had a bit of a disaster here in the shop, so today's video we are going to be talking about that. Hi guys, so as I said before, earlier this week we had a bit of a disaster in the shop. So today's video is going to be a little bit different to the other ones. It's basically me just going to be sitting here as opposed to me jumping around like a madman and showing off some cool stuff. But I really do hope you stick around and listen to it. Hopefully take some stuff out of it and everyone can move on. So before we go any further, I want you all to please close your eyes. I know it sounds weird, but I want you to close your eyes and let me try and paint a picture for you. So basically every morning when I come into the shop, I open the door and it actually feels like the walls are breathing and the shop's alive. There's obviously the sound of the air and the filters that you can hear, but there's this really warm feeling. It's not just warm in the air, but it's a really warm feeling of life and energy. There's lots of fish that are obviously in the aquariums, and it feels like the walls are breathing. The shop is alive. I've often referred to it to plenty of people before, that I feel like the shop is alive within itself. It's not just a shop, it's a live living organism. So hopefully you can kind of envision that kind of feeling and what I'm trying to explain. So the other day I went to drop the laptop off in the morning before I started work, about 6 o'clock in the morning or so. So for those of you that don't know, I work 2 jobs. As well as doing this, I'm also doing another job. So every morning I drop the laptop off because at night I work on it as well. So I was dropping it off, I opened the door and I got a really weird, eerie feeling. I didn't do too much of it because I needed to get to work on time, so I just locked the door. A couple hours later, staff came in for work, got a phone call. Unfortunately, most of the fish in the shop were dead. Horrible feeling, horrible hearing that. I know it was horrible for the staff member as well, not just me. I'm sorry that I'm shaking the screen. I'm actually rubbing the computer as I say this, because kind of even thinking about it's quite upsetting. So anyway, staff had made a mistake that I had made before myself, so I know exactly how they feel. We've got a automatic water change type system here in the shop, and the tap hadn't been turned off, and overnight the water kept running, the fish got cold, and basically they all chilled to death. So a fairly large mistake, and not a nice feeling for myself, or staff, or anyone. So like I said, I've done this before, so it's gut-wrenching. It's not nice. It's a horrible feeling. So when I did it about 18 months ago, we set a few procedures in place. They didn't get followed this time around, and mistakes happen again. So be it. I'm not blaming blame or anything like that. I actually want to basically express that things happen. All the animals that we have in our aquariums, they're living quite clearly, but I don't think people kind of see fish that way, and it's really upsetting. These are live animals, and I actually think people don't even refer to them as animals enough. They are live animals, and they're live creatures. They're breathing, they're moving, they're eating, they're doing everything that live animals do. And I think too often, plenty of fish keepers, not all, but plenty, don't see it this way, and they kind of just discard them and don't think much of them, and I think that's a horrible attitude. This has really affected me, second time around. And for anyone that has lost mass fish in one go, I'm sure you know the feeling of this, and for anyone that hasn't, I do not wish it upon anybody. It is unpleasant. So I was also asked, actually a couple of times, do I see the fish in the shop as pets? No, the shop fish I don't see as pets. My own personal fish in my house and in my display tanks, I absolutely see as pets, but I do see the ones in the shop as living animals and living creatures. And they are sensitive, and we need to look after them to the best of our ability. I feel like I'm going a little bit of a rant here, and I probably am. But the main reason I'm doing this video is, I suppose, to make awareness that mistakes happen. Our mistakes, unfortunately, can cost the lives of these things up here behind me, and it is very upsetting. I know there's other fish keepers that feel the same way and get upset when they lose their fish. Yeah, I might just pause here for a minute, compose myself again, and we'll go again. Okay, so as I said before, I've done this as well. So I asked you to close your eyes and paint a picture in your mind before about how I sort of feel when I walk into the shop. So on the day that I did it, like the other day, there was a very eerie feeling. I walked into the shop and everything was cold. I didn't actually hear the filters bubbling on that day, but everything felt cold, and obviously the water was cold, but the cold, horrible feeling. And as soon as I took a breath, all you could smell was obviously the smell of death. And then there was a gut-wrenching feeling that went down. What's happened, what's going on, turn the lights on and to see it. It's not a pleasant look. For those of you that have had a aquarium crash and have lost a few fish in one aquarium in one go, multiply that by approximately 50 tanks. So I'm sure you could sort of feel that or envision that, but it wasn't very nice. So it was a similar feeling for that the other day. Obviously I wasn't the first person to initially feel that, but I came in and staff were clearly visually and obviously distressed, and there was very much a sinking feeling in my stomach, and I can only imagine how they were feeling. So from a personal point of view, it was a massive loss. As a hobbyist point of view, it was a horrible sight and a horrible feeling. And from a business point of view, it's a massive financial loss. It was a massive financial loss for a small business. You know, $3, $4, maybe $5,000 worth of livestock not there anymore. So we have to basically rebuild from that for a second time round, unfortunately. But it's not easy. For those of you that are in the aquarium business and watching this, I know there are plenty of aquarium business owners, aquarium shop owners that use YouTube, watch YouTube and stuff like that. It's not pleasant. For all you hobbyists out there, it's not pleasant. For all you animal lovers out there, it's not pleasant either. I don't really, it's just not a nice feeling. Again, I feel like I'm going on a bit of a rampage, but this is probably quite raw emotion and quite raw feelings that have been sort of bubbling away a little bit for a couple of days, and I've shown everyone a lot of good stuff and good times of running an aquarium shop, being a hobbyist, and hey look, everyone's aware that there is bad times, and this is one of them. For those of you that do run aquarium shops, and for those of you that don't but love to go to aquarium shops, there is a lot of work that goes on behind it. It's probably the same with a lot of small businesses, but I can't comment on that because this is the only one that I'm in. There is a lot of work, there is a lot of hours that are put into it, keeping the animals alive, keeping everything healthy, keeping everything fed, keeping everything in tip-top condition, and that's just the getting your hands wet side of it, let alone everything else that goes with it. I enjoyed running my own fish room at home. I thought I was prepared running the shop. Completely different. Has a lot more pressure to it, but it's a lot of fun. Wow, a lot of fun. That was some great English. It is a lot of fun still doing it. But you have downs like this, and it sobers you. It puts you in a different place. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what else to go with this, but yeah, I think I'm just using this as my own little one-to-one counselling session. I'm looking at myself on the screen and talking back to myself, knowing too well there'll be people listening to this as well, but I think I'm using this as my own little venting session, my own little counselling session to help me get through this as well. It's down, we get up, and away we go. This video, like I said, it's not going to be an up video, and I don't even know if everyone's going to watch to the end, but yeah, suppose I've got nothing else to say. Have a good one, guys. Catch you later.